We are back with another role-playing training session with the topic today, helping you become better at setting appointments over the phone. So this is a really good opportunity to improve your skill sets in booking appointments. One of the hardest things to do, I think, in this business for a lot of agents is picking up the old phone. And hey, you know, it's difficult, right? You know, it's like you're going to get rejected. You're going to get people yell at you. They're typically not as nice when you call them. But learning this skill set is something that is really beneficial long term. If you can sit down and get good at setting appointments, it will make your life a lot easier. Sure, you can outsource it, but the problem with outsourcing, as many of us will experience, is you get, you know, your mileage may vary. And for a lot of agents I've talked to over the years, it's the appointment setting is something that they take full responsibility for because they just can't find anybody to actually do it the way they want to. So that's why we're doing this training. Appointment setting, as I talked about yesterday on the conference call. If you didn't see it, go to the group me and feel free to check it out there. The appointment setting is, the training is there, but appointment setting, key thing is all about tonality, voice inflection, and pacing, and then of course the language that we use. So the first thing I'm going to do is share with you the actual script. Let me pull it up here and I'm going to put it in the chat so you guys should be able to access it. A couple of things I want to share with you guys as I do this. You should be able to get it here at the training website. A couple of things I'll highly recommend. Obviously, you guys are here and understand I'm going to call on some of you to test your appointment setting script. So you obviously are okay with constructive criticism. I would ask for those of you who want to get good at the phone or who want to improve your skill set to go the next step, go further with your training and record yourself actually giving the appointment setting script with a real prospect. Let me hear it. There is no better teacher, first of all, for you to listen to yourself, and then also for me to listen to you. I will be constructively critical. That doesn't mean I'll be a jerk, but I'll let you know what you need to improve. And all you have to do is a couple of calls and you will be blown away. I've heard this time and again. And this is kind of like me beating, you know, the desk here time and again. I've had agents for years who never recorded themselves, and then they did, and they're like, wow, this is incredible. They didn't even show it to me. They didn't let me listen to it. And just listening to them was like, oh, I didn't know I was saying that. Or why wasn't I saying that? I didn't realize it. Well, you don't think about, if you're reading a script and you're rehearsing a script, you're not thinking as coherently as you will if you analyze it, right? So there's things that you're probably missing for all of us on the appointment setting that only recording is going to mitigate. So I highly recommend for you, those guys who do this, to record yourself. Okay. So I'm going to call on a couple of people. We're going to run through the script a couple of times. Each time I call on you, we're going to handle some I'm going to throw you an objection. Okay. I'm going to be prospect. You're going to be client agent. Once we're through the script, I'm going to analyze it and kind of hopefully teach some lessons. So if you want to follow the script, it's right here. And here's the thing, if I call on you, you've never done this before, read through the script, because a lot of times people think, oh, they'll know I'm reading a script. They really won't. And the thing is after you read through it a couple of times, you'll make it your own. You'll be able to pace it to where it sounds okay. So if you have to read through the script, no worries. Nobody really can ever tell, especially our final expense prospects. Okay. Hey, John, you want to help? Play agent? Oh, hold on.
Sure.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I had my speaker off. Sorry for any of you guys that were talking. I'm bad about that. Okay. All right. So you start ringing and then I'll answer. Hello? John, you there? It went dark. All right. I'm going to call on somebody else. John sounds like he disappeared. Okay. Hold on one second. Mute. Okay. It's not me, right? Okay. All right. Hey, Gerson, do you want to play agent and I play prospect?
Sure, why not? I'll give it a shot. Got to learn some at some point, right?
There you go. Hey, thank you for being a helpful resource on the group. You've provided a couple of resources like the contact list for different companies helping agents out. I just wanted to tell you I appreciate that. I know that.
Yeah. Anytime, brother. Anytime. My pleasure.
All right. So just start by ringing the door or ringing the phone.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, this is Mr. Duford, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Duford. My name is Gerson Oath, and I'm calling about the green postcard you sent off in the mail a few weeks ago requesting information on. Yeah, requesting information on our new state-regulated final expense program. The reason I'm calling is my job to deliver you the information you requested and wonder if you're free tomorrow at 10 or if 2 is a better time.
I've got dialysis at 12. I'm not going to be around in the afternoon or really before that to have much time with you.
Okay, yeah, that's not a problem. Just to confirm here, I do have your address as 123 Hereford Street in Mason. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Now let me check my calendar real quick. It looks like I have a couple of openings in the evening. I have would a 5 p.m. work better for you or a 7 p.m.?
Oh, you work late?
Yes, I definitely do.
Okay. I could do the 5 o'clock. That should be fine.
Perfect. I'll pencil you in. Now, Mr. Duford, do you have a pen and paper handy near you?
Yeah, let me grab it.
Okay.
Okay, what do you want me to do with this?
All right, perfect. So just jot down tomorrow, 5 p.m. with Gerson Oath.
Okay.
And then I am coming from a ways away. What's the best way to get there off the freeway?
Yeah, if you hit I-75, you get off on exit 52. You go down the first right, you'll pass a dilapidated trailer, and you'll get to a house. It's pink, and it's big. You can't miss it. That's mine.
Okay, perfect. So the big pink house off 75.
Big pink house, that's right.
Off 52. Okay.
Right.
Jot that down. Now, one last thing is sometimes, when I sit down with clients, they'll have a lot of questions. So just do give me a window. I should be there at 5, but if not, just expect me anytime between 5 and 6.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect. See you then.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. A+ job, my friend. That was very good.
Thank you, man. I don't have the script memorized yet, but I was like, let's just
So
wing it off the
you were
concept.
reading off of that, right?
Yeah, for the first half, I definitely was.
Did anybody think that was like obviously you reading off of it? I'm curious to see if anybody would disagree, and you're welcome to. I mean, I couldn't tell. I mean, maybe a little tiny little bit, but it was the conversation was going back and forth that I was thinking about what the answer to you. No, as Toby says, is very smooth. Yeah. So understand, again, the reason I'm asking for everybody's sake is don't worry about it reading off the script to start with. It's going to sound a lot better than you think. Okay. Any questions for me before I kind of go through kind of what you did and
yeah, no, absolutely. I come from a place where we use a much longer script and almost like a little bit too pressure. So for me, like it was like really taking my foot, not off the gas, but like trying to be a little bit more polite and just wing through it. So very, very interesting pitch. Obviously, you guys have done this in real life. I haven't had any leads to do it yet, but I'm interested to see what the turnout on it will be.
Yeah. My philosophy of scripting is get to the point and close, and then not to sell the product, but to sell the appointment. This is for final expense. If you sell mortgage protection, there might be, I don't like setting pre-qualified appointments, especially for you guys that don't have 80 leads a week, so like what we're doing here is a blind appointment setting strategy. We're just interested in meeting people who might possibly be prospects, at least they're only qualifiers that'll agree to meet with us. And if you run enough appointments, sometimes you run across opportunities left and right you never would have been able to, envision when you first called them. So I think you have to take that chance. Obviously, with less qualification means there's going to be more people who aren't necessarily going to buy.
Right.
That's okay, in the beginning.
And if you don't mind me chiming in, like
Please.
there's some creative ways around that too. Like last month, before I just moved out here to Kansas, Colorado border, but last month I was in California and I was in Nevada, and I sat down with a guy, again, blind appointment, as you call him, walked in. Oh man, the person was all just screwed up, congestive heart failure. The only thing they didn't have is dementia. They had COPD, congestive heart failure, and diabetic neuropathy. So I was like, oh, great. Here's the fun part. But then the grandkids came walking in, and I was like, oh, wow. And that was his main reason for leaving it behind. And we got a little creative. We used an IUL on the grandkid to accumulate cash value. And as the cash value goes up, in case something happened in the next 4 or 5 years, it'd be accruing a lot more than any other policy would. And if that happens, they can cash out on that policy and now use those funds to cover the burial and final expenses. And then the child would still have a policy, or they could let it lapse at that point.
Yeah, that's a smart idea for sure. And had you had just sat there over the phone and pre-qualified and all that stuff, you may have
never walked in.
Never would have gotten.
Yeah, exactly. It went from a $1,200 AP to all of a sudden a $4,000 AP because they saw the value in it. They're like, and if nothing happens to me in the next 10 years, I have a little bit of money for college, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
there is the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Right.
So, agreed. Hey, Gerson, thank you. So back to the script. Explain. Well, I'll explain. But the way you handled the objection was good. So, when you hear somebody say, I'm busy, I can't make it at that time, that doesn't mean that they're not interested. Okay. Right. So out of all the objections, this is probably the easiest to turn around. All you say is, hey, that's fine. I actually work late. Can I do 5 or would 7 work better? Notice that, and also notice each time when the only time when Gerson paused was when he asked the closing question. All right. So if you listen back on the recording, you'll hear the pacing. I tried to actually purposely interrupt kind of midstream, but he kept going. And so a lot of the times your clients, if they sense a pause, will they'll jump in and say something. Don't be detracted from your script. Continue going, acknowledge it quickly, and back on script. People will take your lead, and as opposed to letting them jump in. Again, it's a little different doing appointment setting in the sense that it is all about control of the conversation. You want to be the one asking the questions. You want to be directing where things go and not getting off kilter. Okay. All right, Gerson, thank you. John, are you back here? There you are, John. Hey, John, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're back. All right, so I'll let you get started.
So real quick, I'm in the shower because I got an appointment in 30 minutes. If you want me to, I can turn the camera on and let your audience see it.
What do you say, guys? We're all friends here, right? I don't know if we're that close of friends, though.
But
just read the script off camera.
Okay. The only thing is I don't have your script. I have my script.
Yeah, let's hear your script. That's fine, too. And then I'll kind of tell you what I think. So no problem. Go ahead.
All right. Ring, ring.
Hey, hello.
Dave?
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, this is John. I am just getting back to you in regards to the post that you responded to on Facebook regarding the state-regulated final expense programs. And just to clarify, you listed golfing as your hobby. Do you remember doing that?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Dave, my job's pretty simple. I am the local underwriter in your area, and it's my job to basically come by and drop this information off to you. I'm actually going to be in your area tomorrow. Would 10:15 or 2:15 work best for you?
Oh, let's see. I thought I was going to get something mailed.
We don't mail. This is a non-medical program. So basically we do have to come by and basically ask you just a few health questions. It takes roughly about 10 to 15 minutes. We do have to lay eyes on you and make sure that you're not in a hospital bed. Like I said, I'm going to be there between, what would work best for you? 10:15 or 2:15?
Okay, good. So off script there, that was good. So just going to do one objection at a time.
I messed up. I said I was an insurance underwriter, and that's not what I'm a field underwriter, basically what I wanted to say.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, I knew what you were trying to say. Maybe I just assumed I heard that instead of what you actually said. So yeah, field underwriter. That's fine. So guys, this is a fine script. There's more verbiage in here, and that's fine. But if you think of this structurally, conceptually, it's the same thing. There's the opening, there's the introduction, there's a reason why he's calling, and then it's selling the appointment. You know, I just need 5 minutes, show you how it works, and then an assumed close, right? Alternate close. Would 10 o'clock or 2 work better? Okay, so like foundationally, that's what you need to do in every single script. There's multiple scripts that work very well. John wrote a bunch of business last week using this script, setting appointments. So I'll be the last person to tell him not to do it. The one question I had for you, and I'm curious, this kind of addresses that pause issue, like where you pause in between the script. When you ask them, hey, well, you said your favorite hobby is golf. Is that right?
Right.
Do you ever lose momentum with some of your prospects when you ask that?
Yeah, probably. I mean, a low percentage of the time, but I do want. What I found is if you get just a little bit of engagement at the beginning, so they know that. So they know that you know that they clicked on a Facebook ad, basically, or they mailed something in. That way that you know that I feel that they do have interest in it, and every now and then you go, oh no, I didn't do that, and then when they say that, I just kind of quickly go on. Well, it must have been one of your kids or maybe a wife. Basically, what it is it's a policy that helps you pay for any debt that you would occur when you. I'm all messed up now, but
Okay.
But I just kind of go back. Hey, it was one of your kids, and then go back to setting the appointment.
Okay. Yeah, Gerson says here in the comments, I used to use a similar pitch. Is that there's a trick to it with the favorite hobby or color? Yeah, I think I understand what you're trying to say there, Gerson. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a purist. You know, do what my script works. There's other scripts that work. Just make sure you do any scripts that you do. Make sure it follows the 4 points: introduction, reason why you're calling, selling the appointment, and then closing. And then the objection rebuttals. By the way, your objection rebuttal is great. Hey, yeah, we can't do that. All I need is, and then you just go into selling the appointment, giving them a quick reason why, and then closing. So every time you rebuttal an objection, you want to end every rebuttal with how's 2 o'clock or would 10 work better, no matter what you say, because we want them shifting to thinking about when they're going to see us, not them thinking about our answer and whether it's relevant or not, if that makes sense. So we want to control what they think about and how they think. And with an alternate close, how's 10 or 2 better? People are forced to answer questions that are asked of them, right? So, that's how we can tell who controls the conversation. The person asking the questions controls the conversation, because we can't help the person who's listening can't help but to answer that question. So you want to be the one asking the questions, of course. One thing I do like right away, and I've used this at times, I think it works well. Some people think it's too informal, but you know how you said, Dave? You didn't say, hey, this is Dave Duford, right? You just said Dave.
Yeah.
But there's value in just saying that as the opening. Because it sounds like a friend, all right? Dave. Like if you think about, if you say it the right way, it's like, I know who you are. Is that you? That's kind of the inflection that you need to include when you say Dave. So that works really well. And that is a pattern interrupt. Whereas arguably, hey, is this David Duford? Or may I speak to David Duford? That's something I like to avoid because it sounds typical of all appointment setting scripts. I like to do it just slightly different because I want to catch people off guard and get them listening to what I'm saying. Okay. So I think what John did was really good there. Any last questions, comments, John? Thank you for doing this.
The only thing that I found that, let's say you got a wife that answers the phone first. Of course, I always say, is this Mrs. Dewford? And then she goes, yes. I said, my name is John. I'm looking for Dave. He responded to a post on Facebook regarding the state regulated finals. I just kind of go through the same pitch with her. And if he's available, I ask, but I try to set the appointment with her. What do you recommend?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's just, we were having this conversation the other day. It's like, it's an act of God that somebody actually picks the phone up these days, so I don't want to let a phone call go to waste. And I believe, unless you're buried in leads, that you should take any opportunities to set an appointment. So for example, in this case, yeah, set the appointment for when both of them will be there and just deal with the risk as it comes when you go there, meaning maybe they show up or tell you no at the door. 100% of the time you don't take a shot, you miss it, right? So right. I think it's worth that risk until you are like literally doing 40 appointments, 30 appointments a week, and then you can afford to segment out leads based off of some qualifiers. That's a long-term goal. It takes a long time to get up to that. Many people just won't. They'll be happy with something less than that. But to me, it's kind of like in the same vein the Gerson was talking about, in the sense that if he pre-qualified, then he wouldn't have had the opportunity to sell the IULs and the other product lines. So I think there's some value in doing it that way. Yeah. Also, kind of along the same note, John and I were talking yesterday, I think, about, hey, I got this guy on the phone. Maybe he's a trucker. He says, I'm interested, but I can't meet till Saturday. Do you book that appointment? I'm okay with doing. I'm kind of like 50-50 on this. Some days I'm not. Some days I'm okay with it. But I'm more on the side of, hey, they pick the phone up. Set something, understand it's tentative, most likely, and the odds are lower, but at least it's a better odds than if you turn the phone off and never reached it again, because many times it just won't pick up anymore. So
I look at that as a higher percentage door knock that I'll get in.
Yeah.
And I set an appointment a week out or that far out, I just make sure that we talked about it. But I make sure I got other stuff to do around that.
Yeah.
So
I would, the nice thing is even if they no-show you, then when you you can door knock them later. And what you can tell them is, hey, look, Mrs. Jones, I was here at 9 o'clock. I didn't see you. I'm sorry I wasn't around later, but I'm here now. Can I come in? We can talk about this. So they're somewhat obligated, I think more obligated to seeing you, even if they don't see you initially and no-show you, because they agreed to the appointment. So you want to remind them of that on the door knock, of course. So, okay. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Giovanni?
Hey, good morning. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good, man. How are you?
Fantastic. All right. You wanna give this a shot?
Please. You start. I'll play prospect whenever you're ready.
All right. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Dave?
Yes. Who is this?
Hey, Dave. My name is Giovanni Gomez. I'm calling about the green postcard you sent off in the mail a few weeks ago requesting information on our new state-regulated final expense program. The reason I'm calling, it's my job to deliver this information you requested and wondered if you're free tomorrow at 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. Which works better for you, Dave?
Is this about life insurance? I've already got life insurance.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Yeah, all I'm going to need is about 5 minutes of your time, and this way I can show you all the different plans we've got. So which day works better for you, today or tomorrow?
I'm busy today and tomorrow.
Okay, no problem. Tell me, on Wednesday, I've got one opening at 12 and one opening at 2.
Okay, so I think I could do 2. I think that would be fine.
All right. So Wednesday at 2 p.m. And just a quick question, Dave. As far as, getting to your house, what major interstate are you right off of?
I'm right off of I-24. If you take the 180 exit and then drive down to Oak Street, I'm the third house on the right.
Third house on the right. All right, well, I've got a little black Nissan Versa, so you'll see me pull up, and we'll go from there. Sound good?
That sounds great.
All right, thanks, Dave. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Giovanni. Okay. So off script here, a couple of suggestions, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Note, and you can go back and obviously listen to this. First of all, it sounded good. You sounded well-paced. I might slightly slow down you talking. It wasn't that fast, but just maybe 20% slower, not very much. I think that a lot of seniors are like, a little sensitive to, you weren't really fast talking. You're kind of just on the border of that. So that would be one suggestion. The other suggestion, and it's more in the beginning than it was as you went through the script. The other suggestion I think that's more valid, when you asked for the appointment, when I said, you've already got life insurance, do you remember what you said when you rebutted it? Do you remember how you closed it?
I believe I said, I understand, and I'm only going to need 5 minutes of your time.
And then what closing statement did you use, or what closing question?
Oh, we go right back to the time, like which time works best, A or B.
Yeah, now you said, correct me if I'm wrong, audience, so just pointing this out here. I think you said, so what day works better, Monday or Tuesday?
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah, the second time around.
Yeah, it's not that that's wrong, but I think it's better to just say, hey, can I see you tomorrow, and would 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock tomorrow work better? I think just that, again, because they may be thinking, well, it's like 9:30. I've got doctor's appointments all day. Tomorrow I do too. I've got this activity, but they don't think that they can show up at specific times. Maybe they are free in the afternoon. Maybe they are free at 5 or 7. So I like feeding specific times just to get more a definite yes, this time of work or that time of work. Does that make sense?
Clear sense. Thank you.
Perfect. And then I already have life insurance objection. That sounded great. You did rebuttal. I think after I gave you did the follow-up rebuttal to that, you did give a specific time. So you did that time. You sold the appointment. Sounded good. You started off saying, hey, that's fine. All I need is 5 minutes to show you how these new programs work so you can review your options. That's a little different than the script that I have, and you probably were rehearsing that from memory, and that's fine. The key thing when you do any kind of objection rebuttal is to, first of all, acknowledge that it's okay that you don't have, whatever the objection is that's fine, Mrs. Prospect. One objection rebuttal I like is it's kind of like the feel, felt, found sales rebuttal at the end of a sales call. So like if I read the script here, it says, that's perfect, Mr. Jones, because most people I call already have coverage too. And the reason they meet with me anyway is they want information on the new insurance plans, make sure they got the best coverage in place. And all I need is 5 minutes to show you. So with that, it's just, hey, a lot of people say what you say. So there's kind of this third-party validation, right? Peer validation. And then we tell them why they meet with us anyway. Okay, so we're saying it's normal that for you to say that, so it's okay, but there's a good reason to meet anyway that's beneficial to you. And again, what's the reason? I'm less concerned about selling specifics of the plan. We want to sell vaguely or generically, because part of what most objections are centered around are just sales resistance. People don't want to meet, and they think they're going to get pressured into a deal. So you have to really spend more of your time, at least half of the rebuttal, selling the appointment. When I say selling the appointment, what I mean is all I need is 5 minutes to show you how this works, and whatever you do with this is entirely up to you. Though that's a very powerful statement that lowers the perceived risk of meeting with you. And that's going to be the underlying reason why most people don't want to meet. Oh, a salesman. Oh, I'm busy. Yeah, so you got to always imagine you hear that, which is why it's inserted into the script. every time you hear a rebuttal or objection.
Sounds good.
Any questions there, Giovanni?
Nope. So just to paraphrase, slow down 20%, stick more to times, not days, when offering A or B option. And as far as, instead of saying something like, I understand, maybe perhaps say, switch over to, that's fine, Mrs. Jones, or that's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like, I mean, I understand it's fine too. You know, it's just, it's saying it's okay. You know, we're validating somebody's opinion, right? We're not, what we don't want to do is argue with them. Okay. That's the thing. Like, you know, a man whose mind changes is the same mindset, still some old saying like that. And there's some truth to that. Like, we don't want to tell them they're wrong. We want to provide them more information why yes, they're right, but there's still a good reason why anyway. And it's ultimately beneficial to you. So it doesn't call their motives into question. It doesn't, you know, relegate them into, you know, hey, you did something bad or you're wrong and I'm right. Like, that's never a way to get a win-win arrangement. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Let's see who's next here. I'm going to call on, if you want me to call on you, just post in the chat. Hey, Mauro, you want to run through this? You getting out of bed? I'll come back to you. Sound like the alarm is going off there. Toby, do you want to play agent and I play prospect? Nobody's there. All right. Oh, you have no mic. Okay, that's fine. No worries. All right. Rodell? I'm running out of people. All right. So I got a couple of numbers on here I'm going to call on. Scott. All right. You're Scott to the rescue. You there?
Now, first of all, before we begin, I want to tell you, I am from the South and I speak slow to deal with it. Okay? Ring, ring.
Forgivable.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Duford, this is Scott Bradley, and the reason I'm calling you is recently you sent in a pink postcard and you sent off in the mail a couple of weeks ago requesting information about the new state-regulated final expense program. And the reason I'm calling because they told me it's my job and I got to get this information out there to everybody, and wondered if you was free tomorrow, either 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock, because I'm going to be down there in your area.
Oh, I thought this was Uncle Sam Insurance.
Well, actually, I will cover a portion of that. And just to confirm, I'll give you this information. It takes about 5 minutes. Is 10 o'clock in the morning or is 2 o'clock in the afternoon better for you?
Yeah, I don't think I'm interested anymore.
Okay, well, I can appreciate that. Like I said, it's just my job to drop off that information. Won't be more than 5 or 10 minutes. And most people I talk to always tell me they aren't interested in getting that information. So is 10 or 2 better for you?
Okay. I mean, as long as you know I'm not interested, 2 o'clock's fine.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. All right. I want to confirm a couple things. I got you at 123 Main Street, and just wondering what kind of house do you have there, or is it?
I'm in an apartment complex.
An apartment complex.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I need to know which apartment I'm going to. There's a bunch of them there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the number that's listed as the actual apartment number. So if it's 123 Hereford, I'm on the first floor. Yeah, you should be able to find it.
That's great. So I'll see you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and look forward to meeting with you.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Okay. So everything sounded well. Naturally, your pace was nice and slow.
Thank you so much.
Right. Not too slow. Again, we jokingly, say, it's funny what you think versus what is heard on the other end of the phone line is completely different. And The other thing too is that when people speak slowly, people tend to pay more attention. Okay. It's unusual that, and not like obviously super slow, but measurably slower. People lean in and they're more curious, right? When you speak slower, you tend to think there's something more worth listening to. I think, at least.
Well, you're also talking to somebody who's 65, 70 years old, and they don't move as quick as a youngster, you know?
Right. Right. And a lot of people 60 and older have hearing problems. They can't hear anything. My grandfather could never hear anything, and he wouldn't wear those damn hearing aids when he was in his 70s and 80s. And, so you got to slow down and just make sure that you're understood. That's the big thing. Along with the slower pacing, of course, is enunciation of words. So you want to make sure that they understand what you are saying. So you don't have to be completely, like a dictionary, but you do need to make sure you're not rolling over, you're saying something a little too colloquially, right? Trying to think of an example, but you just want to make sure that you're being understood and try to speak as clear English as you can. Okay. Scripting wise, that all sounded fantastic. Now again, Scott, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Scott sold the appointment. I told him I wasn't interested anymore. And his point was, hey, that's fine. It's my job to deliver the information. What you do, it's up to you. It wasn't an argument, like, why aren't you interested anymore? Okay. We're not trying to find that out, because when you ask that question, it tends to be something other than that. So you just might as well close when they make that statement and just assure them it's no big deal. And so Scott handled that beautifully. What other objection did I give you there? Do you remember another objection? I think that was the main one.
Said you weren't interested.
Yeah, I wasn't interested. And why didn't you, I'm curious, just from your experience setting appointments, Scott, why didn't you argue with me that I should be interested?
Well, anytime you argue with a client, you've lost right then and there, because they don't want to see you. It doesn't matter. But the second thing was, just because you aren't interested, 95% of the people that you end up selling when you first meet with them say, now, it's good you give me this info, but I'm not buying nothing today. Well, that's fine. I appreciate that. And so then you just go in, you show it to them. And once, if you built up a good of a case, then they're going to buy it from you.
Right.
It's kind of like water off a duck's back. You don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah. So the key thing is the psychology here is you want, as Scott was saying, you want your prospects on your side. And the best way to do that is agree with them. Hey, I understand you're not interested more, and that's fine. All I need is 5 minutes just to show you this information. And look, if it's no big deal, it's no big deal to you. If you're not interested, that's fine. I'll leave. No problem. How's Tuesday at 2? Would tend to be better. That's a lot better than just starting to interrogate them, because people tend to clam up and raise their resistance on these kind of solicitation calls. Any last comments, questions, Scott?
No, I'm good.
Thank you for participating. I appreciate it. All right, let's call on Morrow. You ready to do this again?
Yeah, can you hear me?
What, were you just getting out of bed? I heard an alarm or something.
No comment.
Okay, no worries. So go ahead and play agent. I'll play prospect.
All right. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, David.
Yeah.
Hi, David. My name is Morrow, and the reason I'm calling is because you filled out this form on Facebook, and it's just my job to get the information to you that you requested. What's better? I have an appointment. I'll be in your area tomorrow. What's better, 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock?
I don't remember filling that out.
Well, you said that your favorite color was purple.
Oh, that was a while ago.
It was a form. It was a form that asked for your beneficiary. Yeah, it was a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was a while ago. I remember now, though.
Yeah, like I said, it's just my job to get the information to you that you requested. What you do with it after that is totally up to you. It's no big deal. Takes about 5 minutes. So tomorrow, if 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock doesn't work, would 12 or 3 be better?
I thought I was going to get something mailed.
Well, unfortunately, there's so many different programs that we just couldn't mail it all. So they just had me drop by and just show you exactly what you qualify for. So like I said, I'll be in your area tomorrow anyway, so I might as well just drop by since I'll be in that area anyway. Um, what time? So what time are you available in the evening? I work late some nights, so I can work as late as 7 or 8. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I could do 8. That's fine.
8 o'clock. All right, sounds good. And so just to confirm your information here, I have 123 Main Street. Is that still correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
21056 zip code.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. And so are there any kind of special instructions to get into your apartment complex, or is it a house?
Yeah. No, I'm in a single level brick home.
All right, great. And so I shouldn't have any problem finding the address on the side of the house. It's not feeling sad or anything.
My house is like brown and white. It's got like the like the triangle roof on it. You shouldn't. It's different from everything else. You should be able to see it. I'll leave a light on when you get here.
Oh, great. And is it pretty easy to find off the main roads, or do I have
Yeah,
to
it's
go through the
right
forest?
it's right off of Hickson Pike. It's not too hard to get to. You'll see
Oh,
it
great.
on your GPS.
All right, great. So I'm driving a white car, so you'll know who I am when I pop up. And I'll see you tomorrow at 8.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye. Okay, one thing I will suggest to you that is unrelated to scripting, but something just to be aware of. When you're speaking into the phone, Moro, there on my end, I'm hearing a lot of like, I don't know if you're outside or this is just where your phone's positioned. There's a lot of like almost like wind, it sounds like, coming in intermittently. And so go back and listen to the recording so you'll kind of see what I'm saying. And just
it could be interference from the headpiece.
It could be, yeah. And that's another thing. So technologically speaking, we got to make sure, again, it goes back to that we're understood and heard. If you're wearing sometimes a Bluetooth, if you're doing a headpiece or, whatever, a lot of those tend to be not so hot on, clearly.
Clarity.
Clarity. Yeah. So go back and listen to what I'm talking about. It is worth calling and call your spouse, significant other, family member, and just say, hey, do you notice anything wrong with how this sounds? It is worth the extra 30 seconds just to establish that you can be heard well. And so make sure that's the case, because that will distract some people and get them frustrated because they can't quite hear you. What'd you say? Huh? What? So
Gotcha.
That was a big thing. And then, you did the alternate close, which was good. On the rebuttal, you had started by saying, so when in the evening can I see you? But then you suggested a few times. So you fixed that as you went along, which is great. So booking the appointment was fine. Getting directions, what kind of house. And then last but not least, you gave me the specific time. Again, you don't have to do this, but I recommend try to book like the cable man. I'll be there at 8, but give me up to 8:30 since I'm, driving through a lot of traffic. I may be a little behind, just in case.
I forgot that part. Yeah.
All right. Let's go. I'm going through the script one more time. Let's see here. Okay. Some more. I'm going to put you back in mute. You got any questions for me first, though?
So then the reason we're given the cable man hours, what are we saying? Just traffic, or?
Yeah, so I'll be there at 8, Mr. Prospect, but give me up to 8:30. If you feel better about 30 minutes in an hour, give me up till 8:30 to get there, just in case. You know how traffic is. I get stuck in traffic, so I'll be there at 8, but give me up to 8:30.
Gotcha. All right.
That makes a huge difference, in my opinion, to to keeping and booking more appointments for sure. It takes a lot of pressure off of you. Got somebody's hand raised here. You are unmuted, area code 251.
Hey, Dave, I got a question for you. Yesterday when I was making my visit, what I do is when I show up, if they're not there, I would then call, and if they don't answer the phone, well, then what I do, I take a picture of the actual, I guess you would call it coupon that they filled out and sent back in. And that's sort of normally my normal process. Well, yesterday I had a lady that responded and said no visits, just wanted more information. So this is what I done. And correct me if I'm wrong. I went to got her age, her and her spouse's age, and I went to one of the price breaker carriers, which was standard, and I gave her the rate for like, I think it was $10,000 or $15,000. And I said for a healthy, 52-year-old for $15,000, this is what you're looking at. How would you have handled that situation?
How did you give that to her? Did you text her?
Yes, it was all through text because she would not answer my phone calls.
Did she respond to the text message?
Oh yeah, she said thank you, and then I responded and basically said, hey, if you need any any help with this, feel free to call me to schedule an appointment, and something to that effect. I don't remember exactly what I said.
Had you tried the door knocker?
Oh yeah. What I've been doing with my leads the last week or so, I've just been grabbing them and making house visits. Just I hadn't been calling or anything, and my percentage has not been that high as far as making contact. Because the ages vary. I mean, some of these individuals are 52, 53, and 58. I'm assuming they're probably still, working and so forth. So I lean to that a little bit. But once again, if I show up to the house, they're not there, I make a call. If it goes to voicemail, I leave a message. Then I take a picture, let them know what I'm there for, and sort of just go from there. So anyway, just trying to look, get some advice maybe as far as getting a higher percentage. I've considered, and we've been texting back and forth. I've considered trying the appointment avenue, just to see if I have a higher percentage of appointments versus, just cold knocking, I guess is what you would call it.
Mm-hmm. So how many times did you try to door knock this particular lead we're talking about?
Oh, up to this point, I've got so many leads. Unfortunately, I've got a bad thing that I'm dealing with. The response rate has been over 2% in my area. So
aren't you in LA?
Yes, I am.
That's lower Alabama for short, guys.
Right. And
that's really good down there. Usually it's like less than 1. So cool.
Yeah, and I was a little upset with the representative at Need a Lead because I made 2 orders, and on my second order, she said this is not enough zip codes. So I gave her more zip codes. So here I am. I just wanted 40, to start out with, and man, I've got almost 70, I think, is what I'm at. So the response rate has been overwhelming, needless to say. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make a first pass through all my leads, just at least to get to the house, one time, and I'm putting them leads to the side and documenting everything that I've done. So once I get through all of them, then, I'm going to have a follow-up plan on how I'm going to address the leads maybe that I had no contact with.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my story.
So the original question is, do you text message somebody who says, don't call or drop in or something? So it took me a long time to realize this, but like people who have no soliciting signs, people who put that down on their card, guess what? They're suckers. That's screaming buy. I buy stuff, and it's so bad that I got to put this stupid sign out to tell people not to show up because I'm encourageable to buy stuff. So so the key thing is treat it no differently. There's power in playing dumb when you make phone calls. And I know you, in this case, you've called a bunch or you may have door knocked a few times, but you want to just, to me, I think it's worth continuing that and playing dumb until they finally relent or just tell you absolutely no on the phone. Just because if you give them this information, the problem I have with selling in this kind of product via text is there's no branding that was done. They don't know who you are. They just know they filled out this card. They don't know anything about the company. So there's a lot of uncertainty. And when you give somebody a price, first of all, we don't know if they can even qualify for it, right? Second of all, okay, it doesn't allow for you to build any kind of value. The sale is not made on the company, it's made on you. So people buy from people they like and trust, and they're very rarely just going to treat this transactionally to where, a text message alone is going to do the job. And now if you had a website and you were getting inbound leads and you sold yourself, you sold information, you sold yourself through the information you provided, there was a little bit of a brand appeal built up. That's different. But in this case, a lot of this business is about being in front of the prospect, about making things happen as kind of just interaction.
Right. Well, after the fact, I thought about it and I said, I shouldn't have done that. But, that's why I said a healthy 52-year-old. So I gave them the best, possible price that I had out there on the market, so that was sort of my strategy too, preferred rate and everything. But, anyway, I'm just, at what point do you give up on a lead? I think you answered that question. You just keep calling and
till they buy or die. I mean, well, maybe not buy or die, but if you've got a healthy flow of leads consistently, you're going to not want to call some leads because you've got new leads coming in, and those are going to be your highest odd leads. So like this lead, there's no reason you can't call the person back, right? You can call this person back and, hey, I'm just following up on that text I sent you. Can I come over at 10 or would 2 to be best? I'd like to show you some of the programs, just go into a closing thing. I would rather you do that at this point just to reconcile if this is good or if it's done, because she might be like, yeah, that's actually cheap. I was looking around and maybe more inclined now that you've been communicating with her to meet with you face to face.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, just keep calling. Long story short, there are leads. We all have experience with time in this business that buy months after they reply, even years, and some people just are unreachable for a period of time, and then they appear all of a sudden, or things change, circumstances change. So don't give up on them, but don't prioritize a year-old lead with a lead that came in yesterday, right? You want to do the fresh stuff first.
Right. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I want to get through all of these first, and then I'll worry about them non-contacts later.
Sure. Great. Hey, thank you. All right. So, Scott, did you want to add something there? I saw your hand up.
No, I think you answered it, but basically I rebuttal and tell people, say, I'd love to give you that information. However, it's against the rules for me to drop off that info to you. I have to see you in person so I know that I'm quoting the correct information. That's the only thing I would say.
Yeah, and that's a reasonable rebuttal, right? Like, you can't rebuttal unreasonable people.
No.
I mean, I guess you could. You can't successfully book with unreasonable people, but if somebody's legitimately interested, but they're wary of a meeting, when you say something like that, and then you continue to sell the appointment, well, that's no big deal, it'll be fast. That's going to hopefully, for those prospects that start with, no, I don't like salespeople, don't show up. Now that you've kind of sold it a little bit, you sound like you're an okay guy. You're telling them, hey, this is just the way it works. It's my job. It's no big deal. You're going to convert those people who do have an underlying interest level. And and think about it too. A lot of our prospects are aware that they need life insurance. You know, they've been getting these cards or seeing these Facebook ads for years. This isn't some newfangled concept. And they send back this stuff because they know on some level they have an interest. And if it really is real, if it's substantive, and they say something like, don't stop by my house or no soliciting, you know, when you call and you sell the appointment, you're going to convert those people. The people who are unreasonable and off their chain, off their rocker, no, you won't. But you don't know who is who when you're talking to somebody initially, right? You don't know if the person, this particular lead here, is the reasonable person that's just concerned about solicitors or the unreasonable person who just sends cards back and piss people off. So you got to always rebuttal that objection. Scott, thank you. Appreciate it. A couple of questions here. If you've got questions, a good time to pipe up and ask. So Toby, to start with you. If calling from home and it's quiet, is there any problem with putting them on speaker? Great question. Great question. It's going to depend on your phone. I talk to people all day long, and I can tell when sometimes I can tell when they've got me on speakerphone. Sometimes and I can tell they've got me on Bluetooth or just plain old phone. And there are some people I talk to who the speakerphone just sounds like crap. It's echoey. It sounds like they're on the other side of the room talking to you. And it's like, you can half kind of understand that. And if your client's sitting in a quiet room, great. But guess what? Our clients have chihuahuas, dogs barking constantly. They got Jerry Springer playing in the background. Maury, you're not the father. You know, I got all that crap going on while you're calling them. And when you don't have perfect clarity in what you're speaking, you're going to lose those people because their attention is being drawn to this other stuff that's surrounding them. So you cannot undercut that. So again, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier, you know, test it out, see how it sounds. If it doesn't sound good, do it the old-fashioned way. Jared, good question though. Jared, do you call the prospect to let them know you're on their way or just show up at the designated time? Great question. For me personally, I don't call ahead of time. I teach agents not to call ahead of time. And the reason is because, you know, I just don't think there's a reason to. If you set the appointment already the day before and you confirmed and everything's fine on that initial call, why call again? Why wouldn't you call again? People may start to get a little remorse in meeting, and you might put them off, and they may be like, well, I can do this later. Whereas if you just show up, then a lot of these people are going to be okay with you, you know, right? Because you're here, you drove all the way out here. There's a level of obligation that they now have to speak with you. Yeah. So, but you know, hey, if you're an hour and a half away from, you know, an appointment that's just the other side of the place that you're working, I would consider a call at that point. But that's again, I just don't want people, I don't want to give opportunities for people to tell me no. Okay. All right. Gerson, I'll hop on the road. Just give me an address. Yeah. You want to come down to Alabama, let me know. And if you want to get rid of them leads down there, let me know. Maybe we can make a deal. Giovanni, you give up once you find they don't qualify? Curious what you mean by that. If you give up once you find they don't qualify. Yeah. Like in the sales presentation. Yeah. So in the sales presentation, they've got to have need, want, health, bank, and budget for final expense. If they lack one of those 5 characteristics, they're not a qualified prospect. So the appointment's over, you know, and so I'm looking for a way to exit as quickly as possible. What's a target goal for sit percentage with door knocking without call? I would say 50 to 60%. You should be able to see more than a majority of your door knock leads. More people are more inclined to speak and will answer the door more often than they will a phone call. So at least half, I would say, probably more. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time today. It's right at 10 o'clock on the dot. Great training session. Everybody, I appreciate everybody who participated today. I think there's a lot of value in this, right? Rehearsing this and kind of testing your objection rebuttals. Everybody sounded really good, by the way. Obviously, you're reading my script. but in all seriousness, you sound great. So if you did this script and you thought you sounded bad, trust me, it wasn't as bad as you thought. Appointment setting isn't a big deal once you get a wrap your head around it. Instead, it's actually very powerful, and it'll allow you to do a lot of great things in this business. So it's worth practicing and getting better at. So thanks again, everybody who was here, who participated. I'll put this recording up in the next couple of hours to go back and listen to. I'll be around here and there, so just call or text or email me. Happy to help you today. And until next time, y'all take care. See ya.